A forgotten artifact lies in pieces on a planet far from Earth. Few know it exists except those who took it back and those whose ancestors created it. 4 young people are thrown into a race against emissaries of the gods to find its pieces. Mistrust, greed, and magic are tangled in an endless web. What will the fate be of the universe once it is found and reassembled? Get Scepter of the Gods, The Rod of Truth now on Amazon, and get wrapped up in the saga that will not let you go.
Good morning and welcome to the Motivational Devotional, where we are merging motivation and spirituality to create a daily dose of confident positivity. I hope that this morning's podcast will help you to be more spiritually and positively motivated so that you can transform your day. Good morning to you, and thank you for joining me today at the Motivational Devotional. I am Mark the Writer, and today is the 6th episode of my New Year's series, 50 Ways to Love Your Soul. I hope you are fully engaged in the goals you have set for yourself this year and that they are bigger than you could possibly accomplish when you set them, so that you are growing into the person who can achieve them. That way you are encouraged and motivated by the progress you are making as you see yourself becoming a whole new you. I am excited about this series because it's going to be really cool, and if you will follow me along every day, I guarantee you will see yourself more positively with more confidence and less stuff weighing you down. As I share 50 different ways for you to be your own best Valentine, I am sure that there will be a handful of things that can work great in at least helping you become who you want to be. If you know anyone who could use some encouragement in setting goals and taking life by the tail, then this is it. Share this podcast or share the blog version from motivational-devotional.com if they would prefer to read it. There was an old outdated saying decades ago that a man's home is his castle. A lot of men took that to mean that at home they were the king, and many men have ruled their homes like some of the worst despots in history. I am eternally grateful to have not grown up in that sort of environment and to have had 2 parents who were not only supportive to my sisters and me, they were outwardly and obviously supportive to each other. Our home was our castle, not just a castle for one of us. I think that's a really good way of looking at it, because even though the outside appearance of any of the houses we had was a normal place with a yard and a driveway, there was an invisible castle wall with a drawbridge and a moat. As a child growing up, I was sheltered from any of the negative political, worldwide, or economic junk that was going on. I was able to just be a kid. Negative people never visited our home, and any door-to-door salespeople were stopped at the moat and not allowed to cross the drawbridge. That invisible moat and drawbridge were boundaries, and they were significant boundaries in place for our family to have the values, traditions, and environment that my parents intended us to have. They implemented those boundaries relentlessly. There was never a lax moment when they said, well, maybe for just this one time. There is no such thing. Once that one time has been allowed, there is a gap in the wall, in the boundary, and it will never be as strong as it was. There are countless books, websites, YouTube channels, social media pages, audiobooks, and professionals all dedicated to this practice of having healthy, significant boundaries. Why would that be? Is it really that big of an epidemic, this whole idea of people having unhealthy or even no boundaries? Well, yeah, it really is. How much is your life worth to you? Think of all you've done to have a career, a place to live, a family, and everything else you've intentionally brought into your life. You haven't done any of that just for the heck of it, on a whim. You've gotten your life where it is now because it is the best you have been able to do to this point. That's true for any of us. So it makes no sense to allow any kind of negative influence, be it a person, a business, or any other influence, to intrude and start wreaking havoc. I've known people who have lived like that because they had no idea what to do about it. They felt powerless, and it was almost like they felt like they had to allow negative people to continually bring destruction. You can't build any kind of a life if you are always living in a minefield. I found by personal experience many years ago that the further a negative person was allowed into my life and the more influence I allowed them to have, the harder it was to remove them from my life. It's a lot easier if you aren't married to them or if they aren't a blood family member. In those cases, it's a good idea to find a professional counselor or sometimes even a shelter, depending on how severe the situation is. Before you can put up boundaries, you have to completely own the castle. Then, to get your castle walls built, your moat dug, and your drawbridge in place, you need to be clear on what it is you are protecting. What is allowed inside your castle? What are you intentionally bringing into or growing inside your castle? What do you love most that you would protect with your last ounce of strength? The clearer we are about what we are protecting, the stronger the boundaries are that we have in place, because we strengthen those boundaries with the love we have for what is within the boundaries. If you struggle with that, find someone to support you, to even stand with you, and rely on that person's judgment when they remind you what you said your boundaries were. Love your boundaries with relentless intent, and you can more confidently overcome the pull to let negative influences through. Keep in mind that boundaries are for negative energy. Positive energy needs no boundaries because the more it is able to build up, restore, encourage, and energize, then the better off everyone is. Negative energy, however, needs to be as limited as possible and kept out of your space. You can't keep a negative person from constantly spewing their garbage and trying to affect you with it, but you can have strong, significant boundaries in place that protect you from their siege. I have found that one of the best ways to strengthen boundaries to the point they are impenetrable is to focus on the flow of positive energies into my life as well as out, by being a positive influence in the world. The more I love all that is positive, the less I ever have to be concerned with anything negative getting in. It is like painting your castle walls with stealth paint. Negative people and influences can't even find you because they don't see you when you're positive enough. Love your boundaries by putting love into your boundaries, love into your castle, and love into your life, and you will experience firsthand that all of creation is conspiring in your favor. Trust that the universe always has your back. Brené Brown said, "Daring to set boundaries is about having the courage to love ourselves." Brené Brown said, "Daring to set boundaries is about having the courage to love ourselves even when we risk disappointing others." Thank you for taking the time to listen today. Please help keep this podcast going by following the Motivational Devotional Facebook page, following @Threefold Way Radio on Twitter, and sharing the written format of today's message from motivational-devotional.com on your social media. I am deeply grateful for your support, and thank you for letting Motivational Devotional be part of your journey. Peace out. See you tomorrow. Motivational Devotional is a production of Threefold Way Radio, LLC.